everyone, David and Kennedy here, back in the golf house with another segment on the V1 pressure plate. How we use the pressure plate to measure the movement of the golfer during the swing. And we've got a third segment here. Last time we talked about on the shift, the pressure shift from trail foot to front foot, the timing of it and the force of it when it applies. This time, as you see, we've got a little different graph, and it looks a little odd, but we're going to walk you through it. This is measuring the vertical pressure that the golfer puts into the ground. You know, how they use the ground. There's three forces going on in a golf swing. You've got rotational force, you've got vertical force, and you've got some lateral transfer, translation there. So those three movements, you know, the little bit of lateral, the rotational, and the vertical make up most of the movement of the golf swing. And we're going to look at the vertical pressure in this segment. And what do we mean by that? That means that when a golfer starts, remember we're measuring pressure downward. We talked about how there's a load into the trail side, and then there's the shift and transition, what we covered last time, the timing and the force of that. But now we've got to put on the brakes. We wrote about this in that article, you know, a couple of segments ago. About the Excel to decel. Yeah, that was your article. Great article. And we're talking about how you do decel. You know, you got to put on the brakes. We're going forward. Unlike football or other sports where you run into somebody or something to stop you, golf, you've got to stop the action. So, and it's all done with the front foot, right? Yeah. So let's take our setup here. And you can see, standing here in the dress, the green line represents the 0 line right there. So everything's pretty much, it's measured her pressure down into the mat here. Let's make a little push up on the front foot, just a little push, and you'll notice, make a little backswing and then push up. You'll notice that the front, the lead leg, the blue, is what sort of cracks up there. The blue cracks up. Notice the yellow is, because she's on, yellow represents her right foot in this case, right-hand player. It doesn't push. That lead side, front side, is really, see that spike up. That's the vertical force she's putting into the ground that pushes her up into the impact dynamic position of the strike. And the longest hitters, we know, they'll tend to get twice their body weight pushing out of the ground. Players like Justin Thomas, I think his is more than twice his body weight. DeChambeau, well, he does. He pushes everything. So he's the ultimate. So let's get on here just a sec. Okay, let's take old setup. And you can sort of see everything's about flatlining, about the 0. And again, we're looking at mainly the blue line, the lead line. So let's make a backswing and let's really push up and show them some pressure into the left side. There, bam! You can see it spike a little bit. When does that occur? There's another key part, the timing with which the vertical force occurs. Let's show them when that occurs. So take your great setup.
Oh, that was kind of weak.
That was a little weak. I wasn't going to say anything. Let's do that again. Show them a little bit more vertical. Boom. That was, there you go. You see the blue climb up well beyond the green. And then come back down. All right, that's that spike up. It's the up part that snaps that club right at impact, powers into the force into the ball, right? So when does it occur? Let's take her setup and show the players here. So as we go to the top of the swing, when she starts down, when those hands get right about here, that's when the push, all that energy is really pushing out of the ground up. And upper torso is also going up. Everything's pushing up out of the ground. That's what creates the deceleration, right? And cracks the whip right here at impact. Bam! Everything's pushing up, extending. Yeah. We use that term quite often in teaching this element of the downswing. So timing of it occurs when the golfer is about hands are about halfway, right opposite the belt line here. Everything is pushing up, driving this way, that allows the crack of that club right into the ball.
You got to show them down the line, because when we say push up, we don't mean push up towards the ball, right?
Good point.
You're pushing up from a position where your back side is still on, if you had a wall behind you, still
deep,
yeah. Not from a position where your hips are moving towards the ball.
Yeah, that's a great point. Let's cover that again, because we see that quite often when we talk of pushing you know, the golfer sort of extends.
Yeah.
You've heard, you know, they overextend or early extend, I should say.
So a good feel is when you're here at the top, this lead hip almost feels like it goes backwards.
Right.
What do you say?
Yes, it turns back,
And
clears
the belt,
out.
yeah, the belt buckle's coming up
Right.
as your hips are still deep.
Right. Yeah. You know, it's a lot of times you see that obviously fitness is a big part of golf, professional golf, no doubt. And really it helps all of us. Not only injury prevention, but just complements what we're trying to do with the golf club in our bodies when we're swinging the club. So that extension, like you said, mobility in the hips and lower back and all,
Yeah.
or mid back I should say, is an important part of this. Right?
Yeah.
It's a good point. All right. So that's the vertical force, how we use the V1 to measure and to really pick up some energy and some speed, help the golfer hit the ball farther. But thanks everyone. Appreciate everything and hope this helps.